when they was talking about taxing churches, I said that's never gonna happen. I don't have to worry about a church paying property tax, because then you got to do property tax on the Catholic churches, and they're not gonna allow us. So my church is safe.
Right.
So
You follow what I'm saying? But that's why. So that's the question: why some organizations get it and others don't? Because of the white people that's connected to other white people. They even feel a black person in charge, I'm gonna get more mileage out of dealing with them than I am with them.
Right. And I understand that concept, both of what you said, and thank you for clarifying that. And
that's why a lot of black churches don't do a lot of stuff in the community. We don't have the funds.
So my point to the mayor, to the aldermen, to expose that in the black, like expose it. Like I don't.
Well, all he has to do is reroute funds.
That's it. The mayor carries
You're no longer gonna give these funds to them. You're gonna give it to them.
Point. Like that's literally.
So you need somebody who is familiar with the culture of this city when it comes to politics, as well as the needs of the people, and has been put in place by the people. You know, if you, that's why I tell so many people, and I've heard people say, well, I'm gonna vote for such and such, because you know they rich and they gonna win anyway. Let me tell you something. If you put $1 million by a voting machine, it'd just be sitting there, can't cast a vote.
My comment is something like what Apostle was talking about. I've been serving this community, I know, for 22 years, and probably more than that I didn't know about before I realized what I was doing. And even the three of us have tried to put together programs for our community, and we can't get no funding.
No.
And then we can't trust us.
You boxed out.
No, we can't trust us.
No, you can't. You boxed out.
You know, some of the doctors that we tried to work with, they never paid us. You know what I'm saying? And we kept going as long as we could. But back to what she was saying, the people that's out here really helping the community, we have to go to the people that got the grant money to get a little something for them. But we doing all the work.
Right. That's why I repeat this all the time, and it's not a cachet. Policies and procedures and the people you put in power make the difference. If you drive down the street, you notice most people got their seatbelt on. About 99% of the people got their seatbelt on. You know why? Because there's a policy that if you don't do it, the consequences are immediately. You're going to get a ticket. You might even give an excuse for the law to search your car and take your whole vehicle. The consequences are so embedded and so enforced that you don't want to take the chance. When you see me in office as mayor, that's the way my policy and procedures is going to be. You will not break the law because you know what the consequences will be. You will see seniors on their porch laughing and saying, they ain't over there drinking in that park now.
Excuse me, I have a thing against that word. Seasoned citizen. Seasoned
citizen.
Right, that's right.
Seasoned citizen.
Thank you, no.
Well, you know what? I accept that because you learn something every day.
Okay.
I want Lou to say something. She used to work with a big organization, and who only helped the community. That, by what I hear, only helped the community because they was getting the money and they had to get rid of the money, but not genuinely, you know. But she was genuinely. She's no longer with them, but I know that she has something to say about the youth and the connections that's going on in our city.
Yeah, because you did speak about the youth and them not receiving some of the supportive services, and you talked about the resources. You mentioned very quickly how you volunteer at a program. So my recent position was at a nonprofit agency. So my question is, because a lot of these agencies, as she spoke about, as Mrs. Chris spoke about, a lot of these agencies are receiving the funds to help the community, but it's not being put out into the community. They have these little side laws or bylaws that they write up in order to keep the community from profiting off of the very thing that they've inherited for the community. So how are you going to handle those agencies? Because they like to tell you, be a whistleblower, be this, be that. You can be all of those things, but all they have to do is say, nope, I did one thing, and they can just get away with it and wipe it off.
One of the things I talk about on my website, and one of the things I talk about in every television and radio interview, is making sure that we do quarterly checkups. When you get grant money and you get other different money, or you run a private business, 4 times out of the year, They check up on you to see where you at on the books. What have you at? You have to prove that. We're gonna do inspections. I'm not just making policy and procedures and just expecting everybody to follow. No, I have an A, B, C, D plan. That's what my mother used to always say. You can't get in one way, try the other way. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure that there are inspections. What'd you do with this money? And we're not gonna just ask you. We're gonna actually ask in the community.
Yes.
See, you're gonna be shocked one day when you standing in Jules and the mayor looking like I'm looking today is standing behind you and watching how you being treated by that business. And wonder, how did the mayor know?
So you're gonna be on the ground.
Exactly. I won't be in the 5th floor behind the desk. Yes, sir.
I've worked in social service for over 25 years. I've dealt with state audits, grants, and funding and things of that nature. A lot of people misuse funds because they're general funds. When a grant is earmarked for a particular program, and say you're giving you 5 programs to do this program, to do this funding, instead of giving $1 million to do 5 programs, you earmark this program gets this much, this program this much, and so on. Now you, and then you have an audit. Person comes out in an audit. They need to see on paper. They check your bank accounts that this money was spent. This amount of money was spent by this quarter or this half year on. So each one gets equal amount. You follow what I'm saying? And then when you have auditors to go out into the community where these things supposed to be served at and double check. I'm not making up paperwork. You can't make up a bank statement.
No, you can't.
You follow me?
No, you can't.
So if I check most times they check the paperwork. But no, I'm pulling your bank statements with the paperwork, with the funding, and the audit, everything has to match up. And if I send people and investigators out to make sure you're doing this, then I can mandate in the grant that you publicize everything you do. Mm-hmm. So now everybody knows what you're doing, when you're doing, the date and time, and the people you're serving. It prevents you from finagling anything. Exactly. So now I know you spent this money on this because you got 15% of that grant goes to capital funds. It goes to administration. So you can use 30% to give yourself a raise.
Right.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
15% goes to employees.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The other 85% goes here. So it's how you develop and dissect the grant.
Mm-hmm.
They prevent organizations from using any way they want to.
Right.
And here's the thing: if you do, every dollar you mismanaged, you have to give it back.
Exactly.
That's right.
And when the company trust me,
With the
when an
penalty.
organization knows they have to
With
give
percentage.
back money,
With interest.
they have to give back money plus penalties and interest
They not gonna
of what
mess
you
it
miss.
up.
They're not going to do that
No.
because they'll go out of business. They won't do it.
Well, we don't want just penalties because it's
You know
federal
what I'm saying?
dollars. We want jail
That's how you have to
time.
lay out the grant.
Right.
Everybody doesn't
That's
do
the
that.
point that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because right there, then here come that burst in the community. Oh, we're going to have a giveaway today. Because if I don't, I have to give this money back.
Back.
So if I just show that I only spent $100,
They're
at
not
least
giving what's
I
needed,
show
though.
that I did something to give
But you
back.
can't
to
do
the
it if it's
community.
you can't use it if it's allocated for this. You can't
Can't
just
switch it this
arbitrarily pull it over
Pull it for
here.
something else.
But that's
And-
what
You
she's
gotta
saying.
use it
They
for
need
this.
But listen,
Whatever that is. You
she's
follow what I'm
saying
saying?
there's
What
another
they
piece
did.
to that puzzle because I worked with somebody who went to jail. And I was an administrator
Yeah.
at the facility, and they tried to set me up. They got school money from the city of Chicago. They got big dollars from the city of Chicago.
But that
And
was before.
yeah, that was before. But because the paperwork,
Yeah.
they tried to set me up. I'm not going to jail for nobody,
Oh, yeah. They'll
not
do
even
it.
my
Right.
mother. But here is the thing: budget, whatever they put on paper for budget, needs to go with that documentation too.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
POs with receipts need to go with that documentation.
Exactly.
And somebody has to be the sign-out person who's going to be accountable for the paperwork that's being presented.
Well, that's why we talk about, and that's why under my administration we talk about having council boards for this. I served on the local school council at my kids' school and was elected all 4 years. You know why? Because number one, I asked questions. Number two, what bucket did this come out of first? And number three, what was this money allocated for? So those are questions you have to ask. But see, a smart chief executive, which is what the mayor is for the city of Chicago, knows That's why you put good people around you. That's why I want to represent the city and have these various boards. Because 3.5 million people is not a job for one person. But it is a vision that can be led by one person. That's the difference. And so we have to understand that I'm not looking just to be the black mayor of Chicago. I'm looking to be the mayor of all of Chicago. But I'm going to set the bar so that it's even all the way around Chicago. When I take a look at the south and west side, we 10 degrees below. And so we've got to be brought up. Okay?
I have a question.
And so we've got to bring those things up to par. Yes.
I have a question. Meeting of the minds. I brought you all the way to Broadview.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't deal with Broadview. I'm Austinite. I went from the public aid office all the way. I resigned from public aid because they weren't servicing our people. Now here's my question, because even then it exists now. Young mothers don't know how to be mothers, have no supportive service or anything, no one telling them what they should be looking at. Will there be programs implemented? I mean, because the 15th district, I was on the subcommittee for domestic violence. What happens with the police department when those clients, I mean, I call them clients because they are to me, when they call back and they got the same situations and they have no resources, or the resources are unavailable. What's wrong with Chicago is the resources have changed and we're not getting the information.
Right.
Okay? None of the aldermen, I had an alderman to tell me that if I change my structure of my organization, I might could get some help. You know what I told her? God bless you.
Right.
My cabinet stays the same.
Right.
We don't make changes like that.
Right.
But we had at one time the precinct captain, and I know because the same alderman, I used to give her stuff to give to the precinct captains to give to the community. But when I round back in the community, Miss Joe, did you get that? Did you get some of them heating pads? What heating pads, girl?
Exactly.
So I'm asking, will there be some kind of control over that as well? I mean, because
we're going to do an audit of everything.
Oof.
And when I say we, the things that you are talking about now are issues that we have addressed and will continue to address and continue to be standard on those issues and make sure that they are addressed by saying, I work for the people. And your concerns are exactly my concerns. And that's the only way to truly govern.
But how can you educate the people to let them know that
well, you have to be
these
in the
people
community.
work for them?
Right, you have to be in the community.
So it will be more community.
Oh, let me tell you something. That's one of the reasons why I talk about having community boards and also bringing back community coordinators. I don't know if you remember community coordinators.
Yeah, I remember them.
Community coordinators used to be people that came out from the churches, would actually go knock on the doors, go up and down the project buildings, and they would actually ask within that community what was missing, what was needed, what did people need help with. The problem is that we have politicians in now that are strictly for themselves.
Yeah.
They have stripped away everything now, and they cannot tell you what the city budget is. I don't know why Mayor Lori Lightfoot does not know what the city actual budget is and where money goes to. But by the same token, I don't know why the school board can't tell me how much they pay for pencils, pens, erasers. We've got to hold people accountable and then put policies in place that hold them accountable with repercussions so that they think about what they're doing. Because if you are paying a painter to paint your house, and they know that if they mess up, they ain't gonna get paid, it is an incentive to paint it right. Well, that's the same way it has to work in government. And we have to make it known that when we put somebody in office, we expect this of them, and if they cannot do it, they will be one term.
And because our elected officials, they work for us. It's our tax dollars. So we have the right to go to City Hall. We have a right to ask for the report that shows us the salaries. We have a right to ask for the budget. Like, we have a right to ask for these things. But like we said, our people perish because of of lack of knowledge. Like
Right.
the community doesn't know that they can go to City Hall and they can request these documents, and it's supposed to be given to them. And so that's another one of my things that as the speaking to is making the community aware, even if it's just doing some footwork, like when at time of election, everybody's out knocking on your door, right? And so it is, as mayor, this is just my suggestion, some things that I will probably put in a suggestion box, for the next mayor, is to educate the community, especially the black community, because those other colors, they know. We don't know. Like,
Right.
we don't know that we have a right to know. Like you were speaking of the grants. Like, I've never heard of this church. I never heard of your organization. Why? I've been here like 5-6 years. Not a long time. Doesn't matter, right? I should have at least heard of some of these organizations, right? One of my desires and passions is working with youth, right? Having more arts programs, right, for the youth to show them, okay, not everybody plays basketball. Not everybody plays baseball. Right. There are other things that you can go into, right, to express yourself. And arts, that's one of my passions, is to bring the theater to the black communities. We have a theater here in Art Center for, right, Center for the Arts. It's in the heart of Austin, and Washington. The things they have there is not for that. They have like Austin come together, have meetings, but I see that they're in cahoots, right? Because my question to them was, why don't the community know? You had a whole orchestra, some type of program where you had the youth orchestra come in, but why didn't the people in the community that's across the street from you, why weren't they invited? Why didn't they know? Why didn't I know? I'm literally a few blocks from you, right? But you're in the heart of my community. Yeah. And so when you're having these things, whatever you're having here, you're in Austin. But the board of directors are the other race with a few of us on the board, and so that's something I'm going to be questioning. The Austin Coming Together officials, like, how is this possible that this community is built? Because it's connected to the Catalyst School. I don't know if y'all are aware of the Catalyst School right there in Washington Park.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So how is it we don't know?
Here is one thing that everybody.
And I'm sure they're getting funding.
Austin Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be the resource hubs that let you know what's happening in your community. Austin Chamber of Commerce. But they're not doing their due diligence neither. When they change heads, they used to have meetings, what is now Catholic Chair, at the old ABC Bank. And they used to invite people from the community in and let them know what was going on. So what needs to happen is,
resources.
when you get into office, it needs to be a PSA, number one. It needs to be a site where anybody in any community can go in and find whatever it is that they need to know. And then it needs to be community teams. Precinct captains serve a purpose.
They do.
They serve a purpose. So your best line of defense is first your precinct captain. It's to go to them, provide them with the information, and make sure they disseminate the information, and then have another follow-up process. Maybe do some phone call. We phone call, but when we want to have somebody vote for us, I'm running for office. Can't you vote for me? So why can't we have phone banks to let people, seasoned citizens, youth, single mothers, people that's coming out of prison know what program is available in their communities? And if Austin Chamber of Commerce is not going to do their job, we need to dismantle them.
I agree with you, because I do get on a call. It's once a month. I don't know if any of you get on the call that they have with the police chief and all of them. It's like once a month you get on it. These different people come on, they tell you what they're doing in the community. And in my mind, I'm like, there's something missing, right? And they were talking about the jobs, and they do have a new program that's over on Larry where the kids can come. It's like an after-school program. They can come and do different things. And so, but I have not had my doorbell ring to tell me about this program. So how effective are you being? Like, I'm listening to all of this, but I'm not seeing it. Like, and so that's my question: is there's got to be a way of connecting the community with those that work for us.
Well, there is a way. You can do it. You can do three things to get the information out quickly. Number one is a real simple one. That's the television and internet media. Number two is the schools, because kids talk all the time. If you put a pamphlet in that thing and say, hey, your parent got to sign this, and you bring it back. That's one way of getting information out quickly. The third way is through your churches and your non-for-profits. Okay? Those are 3 sure ways you'll get information out. Because I promise you, if you tell them you're the first one to the chicken dinner, you get $1,000. You're going to be flooded.
Yeah.
Okay? So what we want to do, and what I have planned to do under my administration, is utilize those avenues. And the other thing is, in making sure that those aldermen that don't do their job, hold them accountable too. But I'm gonna tell you something. When we choose who we want that will service us, and I tell people this all the time, I don't care who you are or what party you in, unless you can do something to better my family's life, my community's life, my neighborhood's life, I'm not voting for you. And you need to be able to explain it to me, just like you asked. That's what I look for. The next mayor is going to have a huge task first on making this city safe. The second task is going to be on bringing our educational system accountable and into the brand new century. We still got chalkboards in schools with no air conditioning. Our kids are sweating like they in South Africa. That's unacceptable. And when you go to these schools, there's one place that has air conditioning in it, and that's the principal's office. No principal is sweating in any public school. But the children are.
They freeze.
Yeah.
And our children are being given lunches that ain't even hot. They cold. They cold in January. They cold in July.
They cold
They
all
cold in
year.
September. All year round. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
When I came up in public school, you got a hot breakfast
And a
hot lunch. And you got bacon, and you got eggs, and you got toast.
You got
And you got-
jello.
you got-
That's because nobody, like you all were saying, nobody's holding them accountable. The superintendent of schools, like,
It's a
nobody's
joke.
holding, exactly, you're not holding them accountable. Most parents don't even know who the superintendent of schools are.
No.
And they should know.
That's right.
But they don't know, so they're just sitting wherever they're sitting, wherever their office is, they're just collecting the money and care less. Because in their mind, again, like you started off, and I know you didn't mean it in a derogatory way, but holding the parents accountable. So in their minds, you know, this is parents. They,
Well, the reason why
you
I
know,
say that is
no,
because
I understood why you
Right.
said it. I'm just saying, but in their minds, I think that that's their premise too. It's like, oh, you know, these parents. So I'm not. If like the parents can't do nothing with them, neither can I. But that's a lie. Like
No,
start with
exactly.
the parent. Because if you can reach the parent, if anyone agrees with me, if you can reach the parent,
That's right.
then you can
Yeah.
help the child. And
Yeah.
yes, it takes nothing is going to happen overnight because again, it took us 50 years to digress to where we are right now in America. We're in a mess, literally. So that's my point.
And then just to add on to what you're saying about holding the parents accountable, some parents, like you said, are parents like we are. Like we said, like kids might go someplace, but there are some parents who just don't care.
There you go.
Those
There you
parents
go.
need to be. They sit up all day long and drink and get high and don't watch their kids and don't care where they at. Those parents, you know, I think that there should be something in place for the
We
first
have to, 'cause
time
that's a
they
reality.
come out and talk to the parent and find out what type of parent are you. You know what I'm
What's
saying?
happening in the
What's
household,
happening in the
being
household.
vigilant in the
And then if
household,
the
get
child
showing
keep on
officers.
getting in trouble, keep on getting in
That
trouble,
is
you know
social
the parent
Yeah.
is not doing their part.
Yeah.
That's when you hold the parent accountable. If you don't help, you know, keep your child from doing this, and that, if you need some help, ask.
Ask. That's what
You
we
know what I'm
say.
saying?
Ask.
Ask. We got to have an avenue for the ask.
Right.
An open door policy. And I think we have that again. I keep driving this because a lot of parents don't know. When I looked at the amount of kids that are not taking advantage of the summer jobs, it's sad.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
It's
sad.
boom.
But here's the thing. Those children that don't take advantage of them, they children. They're like computer chips. They have to be programmed. If you don't get them to teach your kid to take care of what's at home, they won't take care of nothing outside home. If you teach them values, to learn to respect law and order, to respect authority, to respect you first, that carries on into everything in their life, and it is a 99% chance that they will be successful in life.
There you go.
But if we have kids that are not prepared to be parents because they were kids when they had kids, and we make that so acceptable and ignore it, we will be in the same position we in right
Yes.
now.
Mr. Collins, another thing, when we was going to school, our young kids, all the way up to 6th grade, they went on field trips. We went to the zoo. We went to the museum. These kids ain't learning
No,
nothing.
they
in
don't go
school.
nowhere.
They don't go nowhere.
They don't have no music class. No
They
more.
don't have nothing.
They don't have a music class. No
But
more.
my daughter moved in DeKalb with her daughter. Now the school out there, they have different programs because it's basically a white, community.
Right.
It's a college community, and they really not out there. They really not teaching the kids anything. And all of our kids and parents are running to the suburbs, but they think they'll be in a better environment, and I don't see it. I feel like it should be something done where the parents and the kids can feel safe. You got streets, kids can't even go outside and play because the parents are scared. If they go out the door, they might get shot.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something else. Education has changed
Yes, it has.
because technology has changed. We have young folks in here. They don't want to look at a chalkboard for 6 hours out the day. When they got smart boards out. Smart boards in a classroom are these big 75-inch screens that let you in real time see something and learn something. Because in the old days, we learned by physically doing it. They so smart, they catch on by seeing it. All they got to do is see it one time, and they are so intelligent, they do everything fast. So we had an oven. If you was going to eat, you know it's going to be 30 minutes to an hour later. They got the microwave. They peel off the thing out the freezer, stick it in there, and they got dinner. Everything is faster with them. We have to do things that capture their imagination and their attention. We just thought about what happened in Chicago.
Yeah.
These children have access to China, Japan, Australia, all through the internet in real time.
Yes. Okay. So I'm 22, and a lot of kids and young adults my age, they have a lot of guns. So my question is, what are you going to do about the gun law? Because they killing kids, they killing elderly, they killing anybody.
Well, here's the problem with it. We got more gun laws on the books than we got scriptures in the Bible. The problem is they're not enforced. So it needs to be enforced. If you're going to be 11 years old and kill somebody, you're going to do some time. And you have to go through some counseling. And you're going to have to be reevaluated and educated. But you definitely going to serve some consequences. Because one thing kids learn quickly is consequences.
I will say, Ms. Collins, and I know the city, the mayor, is really limited once you get, especially a juvenile that's committed a crime, because it's rolled over to the state's attorney, to the state. And it may be profitable to put as much pressure as possible on the state of Illinois or federal government to get them to back what you're trying to do, because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. If you're holding these kids accountable and the law says, well, they were 12, they can't go to jail.
But that has,
You know what I'm saying?
right, but
that's what the
state's
dope
attorney,
man, that's
the
what
attorney
I
general.
wouldn't say dope man. I would say the people in the people
criminal
all different
stuff.
areas.
Right.
They use the kids because they don't. They
Yeah,
can't
what I'm
get
saying,
but that has to come from society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what we have to do is, like she said, educate society on the power of society. And I'll tell you how that works. There are certain things that we have advocated for in our communities, and we've gotten them. We have to do that with everything that's important to us. Because I'm going to tell you something. One thing I understand as the next mayor of the city of Chicago, and that is that 90% of your state legislators live in Chicago. So if they want to sleep comfortable at night, they're going to do what this mayor asked them to do. I intend on playing no games with them. And we have to be that way. I'm sorry. We have to be that way. That's why we need somebody in office who truly understands the culture of Chicago and how things work, and understands what the needs of the people are, to be an advocate on behalf of the citizens of Chicago. I'm not running to be the mayor. I'm applying for a job to work for you. That's what I'm doing now. I want to work for you.
Speaking of that, change the conversation a little bit. I've thrown your name around a lot of places. Who? I think you're gonna have to go to work a little harder to get your name out, not just on the west side, but on the west side, south side, downtown, everywhere, because nobody knows you. So I know you're doing your best, to try to get your name out there. You have some of the best ideas for mayor I've ever heard since I've been in Chicago. I think you'd make a great mayor.
But it
But
will
first,
take some
first,
work.
Yeah, first you got to get there.
But I will say this.
Mhm.
There's some people out there that don't know me, but you'd be surprised there are a lot of people out there that do know me.
Do. But
We
need-
got to work hard to get that name out everywhere. Because I'm going to tell you something. Anytime people support your campaign from Texas, Florida, California, and Washington, D.C., somebody watching. And anytime I go to a car wash and white folks, like Bernie Mac said, when white folks see you, you somebody. I get noticed. And in the community, not everybody knows me, but I don't feel bad about that because I'm a worker. Because most people don't know who the mayor of the city of Chicago is, nor have they ever been downtown. And they've lived here all their life.
I can say that it's getting out there. While you was in this meeting, I got a call from Edward Hartwell, who has Rejoice 102, and Chicago Speaks want to interview you. It's a Saturday, very popular show. So it's gonna take time.
Exactly.
And we still got like 7 months, but we all got
5
to work.
months. Yeah, we got 6 months.
But you know what? If
every-
everybody
everything.
take these
Every
10
doorstep,
people,
That's right.
Everywhere.
that's
Yeah,
important.
that's what's
These is what's important, right
And
here.
that's,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to state. Like, part of my role being a nonprofit agency is I had to run a lot of promotional programs. I had to build up to draw that attention as to why people want to come out. And you named 3 good factors as in how to get the word out to her. But another one that has worked for ages is canvassing. You need to have the people out. They need to knock on doors, put them in your mailbox, do what you used to do. But one thing I learned is they have to know their product. And at this point, you are the product. So you need to make sure people know who you are. So when they go to that door, they exactly understand what they're representing. Because right then and there, that's an on-the-spot interview for you.
Exactly. We have 64 million people that responded to a thing that we put out over the internet. But also, we started last year. That's how come so many people know about us now, is we started last year. But I'm going to tell you something else. Don't fool yourself. Don't think they don't know me. Because the only reason why you got carry and conceal in the black community, so that we could protect ourselves because you couldn't count on the police, I'm the gentleman that took daily to court and got carry and conceal. I ran for Cook County Sheriff. I don't know if you remember that, but that's one of the reasons why you got it. And they threatened to kick me off the job. Give me one second. I'm also the gentleman that when they were talking about, because a lot of us policemen did not know, but Rahm Emanuel knew about the 16 shots. We didn't know. When we found out about it, I got news for you. It was a lot of policemen. And they weren't just black, they was Hispanic and some was white, saying, wait a minute. Why we didn't know about this, you tell us about everything else. That case was already 5 years old by the time you found out about it. That's how good they were at hiding. Because the mayor that was in place hid it from you. It's so important to put leadership in from you. That's how you get your representation.
Not be emotional about it. I think a lot of African Americans, I can't speak for Hispanic, it's not my culture, but a lot of African Americans, I think we're moved more on emotions because a lot of times most politics emotion, especially when certain event happened and then that person is in office, if they didn't respond to the way, so they begin to appeal to our emotions. And again, it goes back to educating our people to look at the facts. Go to the website, look at the facts, follow that person. Look at the previous regimen, look at what they did. Regime, look at what they did, as opposed to where we are now, from the time they got into office to where we are now. So just looking at, and I did not vote for Mayor Lightfoot. I did not. I would have never voted for her. I did not stand for anything that she speaks out of her mouth. So,
It's good though.
I did not. Right? So
Go ahead, Pastor.
I wanted
I'm sorry.
to, we have Minister Sean here. She's from the south side, around 61st or something. I want you to tell us what you think that could be more better in the community that you service through your church. And y'all do everything.
Yeah, we do outreach. We go to the old block. We go all up and down 63rd Street, and we try to we pray. We was the church that was that walked from 63rd
in Champlain all the way over here to the stadium and back to 63rd for the 24-hour walk. He was walking and praying for the the young men and things of that nature. And he his name is Bishop Gibson. He reaches out to people who are broken. We not only those that's just standing on the streets. We go up in the projects, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
we do ministry in the projects. We do ministries on those corners that nobody wants to go on. So when I stated to him about you, that was the first thing he said. Who is he? I've never known him.
Andrew Gibson?
Yeah.
What's the name of the church, Pastor?
We know one thing.
So did you tell
So
them about it?
yes, I'm finishing.
It's her nephew.
So when I first said it, he was like, "Who is he? I don't know him. What do you know about him?" So I only could give him snippets of what we spoke about. So like I told him, let me learn more about him.
Right.
And then I'll let you know exactly, everything about him that he give to me that I can give to you. Because at this point he's open, but yet he wants to know, what have you done for your community?
That's fine. We love that.
Yeah.
Invite them.
Right.
I did, but we had other
Bishop
things.
Andrew Gibson is
Yes.
a dear friend of mine. I will call him personally. He knows me like you know me.
Right.
He's a dear friend. I will call him and we'll have that conversation.
But you know what I like what you said? He don't know nothing about him. That's good. Because you know all about the bad people, don't you? I'm 53 years old. If they don't know nothing about me, it's because evidently God has blessed me to be more on the right side than the bad side.
Yeah.
Now, if you came in and said, "Oh yeah, I know him. He was a pimp on 73rd for years, and he changed his life," but to him say, "No, that's a blessing." I tell people this all the time. You know more about me than you knew about Barack Obama. You made him president and senator. Because you didn't. That's right. More than you know about Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot was head of the police. She was head of the police council when the 16 shots went off. She had the video.
Wow.
We didn't do our homework.
Hmm.
And when I tried to tell people that, they said, "What?" But they wanted to roll with it. We've done a lot of educating and getting out. But we can't do it ourselves. We need help. That means what you know today, when you go and you come back next time, bring 5 more with you.
Yep.
That's how you have to do it.
And spread the word.
You have to spread the word. Let me tell you something I did.
We had funerals. He said he would have come, but
Oh, that's fine.
he
Yeah.
would have come.
But we got
That's actually
money.
my nephew.
Your nephew?
Yes. So
Okay.
he's a good person. He's for outreach. He's for the community, not only the south side, the west side as well.
Right.
So we do it all over. And so, just like I'm here so you can fill me in more, so I can fill him in more.
Right.
And he said that his door is open for you to come and speak to the congregation.
Well, thank you so much. We want to get this young lady in.
Oh no, I was trying to.
Oh, that's wonder why your hand kept up.
I was trying to fist the umbrella.
Now, I just want to steer just a little bit. And I want to talk about disabilities. And what do you plan on, or do you have any insight on that? And that leads me to say this. As you saw, my daughter is blind. So I live on the west side of Chicago. Her neighboring school was Gore High School, which we all know that was split, and there's like
Right.
99 million schools. So she was placed in this school who was not able to assist her. She sat there daily for almost 60 days before I'm finally like, what's going on? Because there's no homework, there's no questions coming, there's none of that. Then I get a letter saying, well, we can't support your daughter, so we're going to send her to another school, just her neighboring school, which ended up being Curie on 55th. So if something happened, I had to make it from the west side of Chicago
All the way out
to 55th
That's
to
ridiculous.
see about my baby.
That's ridiculous.
Who then, in turn, told me, well, we can't assist her anymore. So we're going to send her to school at ISVI. That is the Illinois School for the Visually Impaired in Jacksonville, Illinois.
That is.
So I
that's
then
unacceptable.
had to send my young 15-year-old 4.5 hours away so she can obtain the supportive services that she needs and be able to graduate on time.
Now you do understand the person that made that possible. You pay their salary.
Mm-hmm.
So you, I know you're gonna be the first one to vote for me because she failed you. And let me tell you something. I have a real real deep, heartfelt for children with disabilities and seasoned citizens with disabilities. I'm learning. I'm learning.
That's what we
when
are.
you work for the boss, you better learn what the boss like.
All right now.
All seasoned citizens
So-
have disabilities.
That's right.
So one of the things I'm gonna do, and it may not be everybody's favorite, but in most communities, I'm getting rid of the bike routes, and I'm gonna tell you why. You're making senior citizens with wheelchairs and everything have to step further in the street to get in the vehicle. I rode a bike on the sidewalk every day. Didn't nobody get hurt? Didn't nobody get nothing? Now the cars, now they run into the cars. What they done is
It wasn't us.
they didn't plan it right.
You create traffic.
They made the streets smaller now, so that now a senior or somebody with a disability or helping a child with a disability or a loved one with a disability has to literally get in the street of traffic.
Yeah, you almost get hit trying to
You're not supposed to park.
Yeah.
Truck parking.
Because they got all this room for a bike lane. This is a major metropolitan city. It is a fast moving city. And we need to think about things more conscientious and how it affects everybody. Not the one person that created and gave $1 million to the mayor for some bike routes. And a bike program out here that don't even work because you don't even have to pay for it. They just snatch them out of the thing and ride them all around and drop them somewhere.
Yeah, because at one point with the disabled programs, we used to have them at Whitney Young High School, where the kids were visually impaired or deaf would be able to go there and get their assignment and their coursework and be able to graduate. Now you have to send your child
Yes.
so far away
We can implement
in
those
order to
programs
do
in our
that.
local schools.
Well, why
Or
can't we
even,
just take an empty school building
That's
and
what I'm
turn
saying.
it
There
to
you go,
a
that's all, yeah.
civil
There you go.
Local school, in
For
our local
those type
school.
of children
And that's right.
who has those needs.
So that's my
Absolutely.
question, because a lot of the programs, even for the summer, if I want her to go to a summer program and she can't get in the Chicago Lighthouse, my option was to send her to Arkansas.
What-
So if I gotta work every day,
Right. But this is my thing. You have over 300 buildings that are sitting empty. Those are just the schools. That's not including all the other property that the city owns and gives away for $1 to a private developer.
Yes,
What we
they
want to
do.
do is take those buildings and actually put them to use with the non-for-profits and making sure that we have mental facilities. The previous administration closed 7 of them.
yeah.
I don't know why. Because it made no sense. But we're going to continue to take questions and everything, but I'd like to give everybody a chance to eat. We got food and drinks and stuff over here, so I want to give you a chance to eat. But I will tell you this. I've said this to everybody. I've said it on national TV. We've been on 3 national TV shows, Fox and so forth, nightly news, all of them. And let me tell you something. I've said the same thing. I'm a mayor who wants to work for you. And I understand that I'm your employee. And when I go to the 5th floor, we're going to take the doors off the mayor's office. Because that's truly the only way to have an open door policy. Yeah, we'll have a couple of guards at the door for those who don't know how to act. But we will have no doors on the office. But because of that, it will make a difference because you'll be in charge. And that's what we're missing. I really don't need a job just to have a job. I'm doing this out of love for my community and for my city, and the fact that this is my home, and it took me 53 years to have my own place and pay for it and grow, raise my family and my kids. I'm not just finna give it away to crime. I'm not finna give it away to hopelessness, nor will I give up on my people. My father said 2 things you must always be aware of and never forget. Number 1, you have life because of God. God is the creator of life. Number 2, you are a black man first. With responsibilities to your community.
Girl got something to say.
Before everybody leave, sorry I'm late and everything, but Mr. Collins will be on the Drive at 5 with Roman Mayoral on Monday at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
25th at 5 o'clock on Drive at 5. It's intellectual radio, it's internet radio. That's going to be at 5 o'clock this Monday, coming Monday on the 25th at 5 o'clock.
Did you say that again? I recorded. I didn't bring a pen. What
Yeah,
is it gonna
Drive
be?
at 5 with Roman Mayoral, intellectual radio.
May be related to me.
Okay, look.